The next 8 weeks, my aim is to get fitter and healthier, and I'm documenting my journey every step of the way. This week, it has been quite a tough week adjusting to my new eating habits. I discussed that my HbA1c was a little bit elevated. It was only 39, we're looking for ranges below 42. So still within the healthy ranges, but essentially optimum ranges will be below 35 millimole. That is my goal anyway. The first week on the plan, I've been adjusting to not having porridge every day. And I love my porridge, and I probably would go 365 days a year having porridge for breakfast every day. However, I have the transition now to having more savoury breakfast. That will be just eggs on toast, some scrambled eggs, maybe some mushrooms in there, tomatoes. And actually, the transition has been challenging but rewarding. I found that I don't really need my porridge as much, and I'm really reducing my carbohydrates around my training days when I'm doing less riding. So on the days that I am in the gym doing my weight sessions on a Monday and Thursday, I'm predominantly focusing on a low carb breakfast. And then when I am riding the other days, aside from a rest day, for example, I am trying to have my porridge for breakfast or some overnight oats. Maybe reduce some of the honey in there and some of the added sweetness that I was having, mainly from honey and some added berries. Obviously, they're not bad for you. I'm just trying to cut back on as much sugar that I was adding to my food as I can in order to get my HbA1c down over the next 8 weeks as much as possible. Ultimate goal will be before Christmas. Over the next 8 weeks, that is the focus, try and reduce it as much as I can. So far, it's been pretty good, and actually it's not really impacted my riding ability at all. Actually, on the first week of the training plan, I managed to get in about 150 miles of riding. So that was commuting to work and also getting out for a good 70-mile ride at the weekend. My weekend ride was the typical weekend ride where I'd fuel well beforehand, so having a good porridge bowl before my ride. And then while I was riding, I was consuming 90 grams of carbs, up to 90 grams of carbs per hour. I normally take 180 grams of carbohydrates with me in my bottles, and that would be in the form of a carbohydrate drink. And then I'll also take some homemade flapjacks, which contain around 30 grams of carbohydrates. Just homemade, nice and natural, really simple to make, and you can freeze them for future use as well. So those are the ones that I'll be using in order to fuel me, and I'll take 4 of those out with me, another 120 grams of carbohydrates on me to consume in solid form. And that normally sustains me pretty well. And actually, when I did the ride at the weekend, it was pretty steady. Me and my friend were aiming for a longer ride, but the weather wasn't too good, so we turned back a bit earlier and came back, still doing 70 miles, more an easier pace. And because it was a little bit easier, just 2 of us, I only consumed maybe 1.5 bottles, but I always take more than I require just in case the intensity is a bit higher and I'm requiring those extra carbs towards the end of the ride. So first week on the training plan when it comes to my workout, it's been good. I did a couple of VO2 max intervals in the gym as well. That was really helpful to really start working on my top end power and just stretching my VO2 max and hopefully increasing my FTP like I'm aiming for during the 8-week period. But the biggest challenge has been the diet, just cutting back on the carbohydrates. But I have seen some benefits in terms of feeling fuller throughout my day. Sometimes I'm just eating 2 meals a day, feeling really full and actually not really that hungry. 2 solid meals, breakfast and lunch, have been enough to sustain me. I've also lost a little bit of weight. I lost about half a kilo, about a kilo in muscle as well. It wasn't my plan. I think I've just lost a bit of water weight. I do find that consuming less carbohydrates do feel less bloated on a day-to-day basis. So if you are looking to lose a few pounds, which essentially will be water initially, then reducing carbohydrates might be a nice way to go, especially if you are quite sedentary most of the day. And so that's what I've really noticed over the first week on the training plan. So far, so good. I'll keep you updated as I go through each week. But overall, really good start to my training. Good solid week of miles in the tank, so 150 miles of riding, and that was about, I think, 7 hours on the bike, which is good. Next week, I can look at as promising with riding, just because I'll be away for the weekend, so it's going to be adjusting my goals in terms of maybe a couple more intervals within the week to make up for not doing a weekend ride. But same goals as always: 2 weight sessions, reducing those carbohydrates on those less intense training days, and then just adding in a little bit more carbohydrates throughout the week while around my rides. Probably the other key factor is making sure I'm having at least a little bit more protein within my diet to make sure I'm minimizing that muscle wastage, and also looking at my calories in a bit more detail. So making sure I'm consuming more calories to not lose too much weight, make up for the calories I might be losing in my breakfast. Generally speaking, I'll probably cut in at least 500 calories for my breakfast when I'm having more savory compared to sweet. That is something I need to look at in more detail over the coming weeks as well. But overall, generally feeling good and looking forward to the next week as we go through the training plan. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'll be posting another update next week, and I'll keep you updated on how things are going. If you've got any comments or any questions about how I'm structuring my training, then let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.